So I've been noticing recently that there has been a lot of confusion regarding who is actually developing Pokemon Go. Is it Niantic Games? Is it Scopely Inc? I'm going to be talking about all of this in today's video, and hopefully this will clear the air. Alright, what's happening everyone? Count Jinsula here with a brand new Pokemon Go video. I hope your day is going really well, and let's get right into it. So today we're going to be talking about something which I started to notice a lot more, especially within my own comments section, that players are starting to get very confused regarding who is responsible for Pokemon Go. Is it Scopely Inc., who recently purchased Pokemon Go and all of Niantic's games properties, or is it Niantic Games? I'll be honest with you, I think the answer is very clear. It's Niantic Games. Niantic Games still exists. I think a lot of people do not realize that. Once Scopely Inc. took over, they essentially bought Pokemon Go, right? But they did not start developing Pokemon Go. In fact, they essentially stated themselves that they were going to leave the development to Niantic Games and they're going to leave it untouched, that they would just let them continue to do what they are doing and they would be supporting them in whatever means possible. And ultimately, that has been the case. But I will say there is some key differences with Pokemon Go compared to previous years, where you really start to see the change of ownership actually taking into effect in many ways people may not necessarily realize. So when it comes to the development of Pokemon Go, yes, it's still Niantic Games. They're the same team that it was before, and they're continuing to do a lot of the same things, whether good or bad, with Pokemon Go. I think more recently with the issue of the shiny rate not being boosted with the Origin Raid Day, that is very typical of something that Niantic would do. So Niantic is still around. Niantic is still the people developing Pokemon Go. It's just very different in terms of the ownership. Recently, I think a lot of people started to notice that Pokemon Go has been going in a direction that is a little bit more positive compared to previous years, whereas they're starting to focus more on gameplay. We're starting to see a lot of different gameplay implementations that are actually really good and a lot of fun. They're starting to fix a lot of issues from the past that players have been complaining about for a very long time. They're starting to move away from AR gameplay and AR technology, stuff that not a lot of players actually care about. I really do think this is the positive results of Scopely Inc. purchasing Pokemon Go. I've talked about this before in my channel, but once Scopely Inc. took over, there was going to be a change in direction with Pokemon Go. And I was really hoping for something more positive, and it turns out that is seemingly the case. The reason for that is pretty simple, because when it comes to Pokemon Go's development, it was kind of like an engine to pursue further AR technology with the old leadership. Like people like John Hanke, they're not necessarily gamers. They're not necessarily people who would create Pokemon Go specifically for a positive gameplay experience. I don't even think he cares about the Pokemon IP. All he really cared about is pursuing further AR technology, which, you know, all power to him. If that's what he wants to do, then that's something he should pursue. I think AR technology is really cool, and there's a lot of really awesome things that Pokemon Go has actually brought to the world, and if they want to continue that work, they should continue doing it. But I think for them to use Pokemon Go as a means to an end in that regard, that was very detrimental to the gameplay experience. A lot of people really cared about certain features and really wanted to see certain things get added, but they would neglect a lot of that specifically so that they could pursue more AR technology and keep that going further along. But that's all changed. Now that Scopely Inc. has taken over, they essentially divorced from that concept. That they basically, the Niantic developers, they no longer have to answer to John Hanke. They no longer have to create design decisions and gameplay mechanics that specifically cater towards AR technology. Now they can actually develop Pokemon Go as a game. They could think about the player experience and actually come up with ways to make that player experience even better. And we're starting to see that. I do think we're starting to see a lot of positive changes to Pokemon Go, and that is a direct result of Scopely Inc. now being the owners of Pokemon Go. But I don't think that for a lot of people, when they say that Scopely Inc. is the ones to blame for some of the issues that happen, or whenever something positive happens, that it's specifically Scopely Inc. that is developing it. I think these are all the Niantic developers from before, but now they just have a lot more freedom. They have a lot more agency. I mean, for all of the Niantic developers that I've talked to over the years, they are very passionate about Pokemon Go. They play Pokemon Go just like we do. They all have different raid communities. They all have their own local communities that they chat with on Discord and different things like that. They play the game like we do. They understand a lot of the issues that we face. They understand a lot of the things that we want for the game. They totally have the same sentiments. But I do think for a lot of them, their hands were tied beforehand. But now they feel like they can develop Pokemon Go the way they actually want to develop it. So whenever stuff like the Origin Raid Day issue happened where they forgot to turn on the Shiny Raid, that's not a Scopely Inc. deal. That is actually Niantic. So we do need to put the blame where the blame needs to go. And we also need to give credit where credit is due. I think Niantic is overall doing a really good job. And I think a big part of that is because they have new owners who actually care about making money. And of course, if they want to make money, they need to create a very positive Pokemon Go experience. So they're letting Niantic developers do what they feel like is best for the game. And ultimately, I think they've been doing a good job. Now, there's a lot of really cool things that are on the horizon, of course. Recently, we found out that there might be an increase to the level cap. We, of course, have seen a lot of really cool things get added into the game, like Dynamax battles, a lot of things with PvP, and a lot of things with raid battles. Just a lot of really cool stuff has been added to Pokemon Go, and I'm actually really excited to see where they're going to take the game further. But I think in recent time, with the issue with Origin Raid Day and with some of the other mishaps that have been happening, some of the events have been kind of lackluster. I think a lot of people have been really confused about who is actually running Pokemon Go. Some people are saying Niantic is back to their old ways. Some people are saying Scopely is not doing good for Pokemon Go. I think it's a little bit more gray than that. And I really hope for a lot of people who are, especially those who are in my comment section, I hope they understand that this is still Niantic. This is just Niantic with a new parent company. A bunch of new owners who do not care about AR technology. So that's the only real difference, but it's the same people. So yeah, maybe this will clear things up. I know there's a bunch of you who always say, hey, you're still saying Niantic, you're supposed to say Scopely, or people are saying, do you mean Scopely Inc. whenever I refer to Niantic? I'm still going to refer to Niantic because Niantic still exists. Niantic Games still exists. It's the same people from before, and they're the same people who are still developing Pokemon Go. They just have a completely different direction for the game, and that's the only difference. So yeah, hopefully that clears it up for you. I know some people are confused. Some people already know everything that I talked about today. I still feel like this is something that needs to be said because as I go through social media, as I go through my comment section, I still see a lot of confusion. So yeah, this is probably a video that wasn't necessary, but hey, I wanted to kind of share my thoughts regarding this. You'll often see that every now and then on my YouTube channel. Sometimes I don't really have a topic to talk about. I don't really have any news to report on. I just kind of want to just sit back and just share some of my thoughts. And that's really what this video was. So yeah, that's really all I have to say. Definitely share your thoughts regarding everything I talked about down below. Do you feel like maybe I'm completely wrong? Maybe you have some insider information that is completely contradictory to everything that I talked about? Maybe you can share that in the comments below. That'd be very interesting. But yeah, overall, let's just have a really great discussion and let's talk about it. Let's see what the community is thinking regarding Scopely Inc., Niantic Games, and the direction of Pokemon Go. So I'm excited to see that. Anyways, that's going to be it for this video. If you ended up enjoying it, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if it's your first time here, hit that notification bell so you know when I'm going to be uploading videos and you won't miss a single thing. And if you want to support my channel, the best way you can do that is going to be by joining my Patreon. If you become a paid Patreon member, that's probably going to be the best way you can support my channel, but in return, I'm going to add you to my Pokemon Go friends list. So that means for stuff like remote raids, the friendship system, opening and sending gifts, different things like that, if you want to play Pokemon Go with me, then make sure you go and check out my Patreon. I'll put a link to it in the description below. You can go and check it out. And if you want to support my channel in a completely different way, you could do so by following me on social media. My handle is @Jinsula. I'm on the platforms you see on the bottom of your screen. Make sure you go over there and give me a follow. and that will be a huge help to my channel, and you'll have access to some exclusive content as well. And that's going to be it for this video. I'm Jinsula. Be safe, have fun, love yourself, make sure you tell yourself that you're awesome, and I'll catch you all later.
진솔아와 함께해 Pokémon Go 다 같이 와